Welcome to a very special, all-natural being, a Sunday morning version of it. For those of you that you're just plain, just plain tired of being stuck inside, locked down, however you want to call it. So we thought what we would do, many of you that have been following know that All Natural Being was the name of the show pre-tumor, and then afterwards and all the, the soirees and the surgeries and the like, we switched it to the Brian Brody Show. But we thought maybe Sunday mornings we could get together and do a quick little 20-minute, we call them 20-minute victories during the week. But the reason that we're doing a 20-minute is just out of respect for the internet. It's like, how they have rolling brownouts or rolling blackouts, or you have one of those power strips you plug into the wall and you put so much stuff into the power strip, it just goes. Well, we don't want to be responsible for breaking the internet, right? Like I need to be attacked for that. So what we're trying to do is just 20 minutes to get together to remind each other of who we are, right? As I like to say, just remembering who we are, who we were before we forgot who we are. Right? And so Sunday mornings, there's not going to be any lowlifes making headlines. There's not going to be any of that. We'll save all that fun stuff for the week. But a couple different things that I wanted to make mention of this morning. And I don't want to mention a couple different names. I don't want to mention names because I don't want people going, well, I can't believe you mentioned my name. So we won't do that. But the first thing that I wanted to share with you is someone said, I happened to watch last Sunday's thing, and I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. What are you all about? And I said, okay, well, here's this. And I explained it to this young man, and he said to me, oh, well, you know what? And this leads to this thing. Now, I didn't know much about The Mandalorian. Well, I still don't know much about The Mandalorian. I'm a huge fan of Yoda. Do or do not, there is no try. Always with you, what cannot be done. That is why you fail, right? Just Yoda. They wrote the perfect script for Yoda. But in any event, I guess The Mandalorian is a takeoff in some way of Star Wars or this or that. And this young gentleman said to me, well, you're like the Mandalorian for the human mind. And I said, thank you. And I had I had just zero concept of what that meant. And I said, I'm just doing my little Sunday morning dog and pony show. Apparently it's in me. And I thought, okay, well, this Mandalorian thing. So I came back, and I guess this Mandalorian character defends Baby Yoda, 50 years old. For that matter, I'm a baby, right? But Baby Yoda, if you're a fan of Star Wars, and defends Baby Yoda. And I thought to myself, all right, well, that was a very nice compliment. Thank you so very much for that. Now that I'm at least this is my spin about when I say, or he said to me, you're the Mandalorian for the human mind, is that, right, to be able to stand in defense of anyone that stands opposite of you, opposite of the real you, the authentic you, the true you. And now this morning, what I'd like to talk about for the time that we have is another gentleman on Twitter. Now, I don't want everyone to think that I go over to Twitter just to play whack-a-mole, but I do. It's an absolute thrill ride going over to Twitter. But every so often, you find some great stuff. And this young man, and I don't want to out him because you can go over to Twitter. You can probably see in our feed, right? You can get it at mortalup.com or allnaturalbeing.com, I guess is a better way to do it. You can get it up at allnaturalbeing.com. You'll see the Twitter link. But he asked a really great question. And he said, hey, you're in the middle of the lockdown. There's a knock on the door, and you can have it be anyone you want. It can be anybody. So the feed just populated, I'd like to meet this person or that person. I'd like to meet him, or I'd like to meet her. I'd like to do all these things. And this will surprise you, right? Shooting from the hip. Right, that's a shocker for those of you that know me. Shooting from the hip, right? I just said, hey, I'd like to meet my inner child, right? I'd like to meet the me that was me before all the socialization. But I didn't say that. I just said, hey, I'd like to meet the me, or I'd like to meet my inner child. That's who I'd like to knock on the door. You open the door and you go, oh, hi, how are you? Nice to see you, right? That's what I'd like to do. I'd like to meet that guy. I had a picture somewhere to show you, but I don't even know where that went. All right, so I wanted to say, yeah, I'd like to have a conversation with that inner child. And which made me think even more. I dreamt about it all night long. I got up at 11 o'clock. I got up at 1 o'clock. I got up at 3 o'clock. And I couldn't get this thought out of my mind. If I could meet anyone I wanted to, if you could meet anyone you wanted to, and you go, oh, okay, great. How about we say, let's go ahead and meet. The heck am I doing here? Let's go ahead and meet our own inner child. And I thought, What a great conversation that would be, right? To be able, as I say all the time, to go back to who we were before we've forgotten who we are. And have a conversation with them, like the pre-socialized, before there were Dems and Repubs and Indies and progressives and social, before all that. Or like before there were Christians and Jews and atheists and Taoists and Muslims and all the rest of it, right? Before our socialization. If I could have a conversation that was me before all of the philosophical graffiti, if I could have a conversation that was me, what would I say? What would I do? What would I ask? And it made me start thinking quite a bit about it. I mean, it tormented me all night long. So my question is for Day, as we talk about all natural being, what if you could return to that young person? What would you say to him or her about the person that you've grown to be? What would you say to that little mind? And say, right? Because here's what we do know. If you follow, and you don't have to if you don't want to. I'll do all the studying if you like. But if you follow psychology, psychiatry, some personal empowerment or philosophies around personal empowerment, they'll say to you that that little being, that wounded inner child, is still trying to do everything it can. Right? It's still trying to do everything within its power to protect you. So, I thought about it. A friend said on Facebook here not too long ago, said, well, everybody worried about their baubles, their economy, their checking account, that's the ultimate definition of the ego. And it made me think, no, the ultimate definition of the ego is the fear of death. And when you contemplate what life really means, death stops playing you like a puppet. Right? Death stops playing you like a marionette where your hands just move and this and that because you're worried about, what happens when I die? Well, right? If you have a true understanding of what life means, it takes some of the sting out of it. And that's what I wondered. If we could get back to that pre-egoic, or at least that young boy or young girl, ladies first, young girl or young boy, what would we say to them? But two, just as importantly, what would we learn from them? And I think a function of meditation is allowing us to return to that time, right? To return to that memory of who we were before we had forgotten who we are. And it fascinated me throughout the dream. So again, I ask, if you had that conversation, what would you say? Would you go, look, I've done all this in an attempt to protect. And one of the things they say now, in terms of dealing with this conversation, the psychiatrist, psychologist, everyone I mentioned, is that you thank that little inner child for everything it's done to try to protect you. Because that's where we learned fear. That's where we learned being smacked around. That's where we started to learn our sense of perforated skin, right? Of a persona that's so fragile that the slurs of another act like a solvent to our own belief of who we believe who we are. So if I could, and right, this is not about picking a fight. As we said on Sunday mornings, we wouldn't. When people say, why do you keep saying, right? And, one of these libertarian wannabes asked me the other day publicly and then started screaming and hollering and yelling and cussing and everything else. And said, well, you should stop saying Wuhan virus. Well, I don't believe I'll ever stop saying Wuhan virus. Now, look, here's the reason why. Let me just give me a little bit of it. You find someone that's targeting, look, this has been a thought of mine from way back when. You find someone targeting someone, you find some drool bag that goes out and punches on a Chinese American, punches on anyone that they think, right, is their way of exercising control over the fact that subconsciously they know they're dying. You find anyone that belittles or look, anyone that sucker punches another human being, I say arrest them, try them, and execute them. I've always been that way. If you could sucker punch another human being, if you could hit another human being with a baton or a bat or a stick, especially from behind, it's just time, right? Return to vendor. It's time for you to go. That's not why I say it. You find the people that are targeting other people and go, well, Wuhan virus is very racist. And when you say that, you incite other people. Good. Then look, if that's in fact the case, if there's some nut running around that's incited by the concept of Wuhan virus, find him, get him out of here, right? That's it. If find him or her, get him out of here. But why I continue to say Wuhan virus, and I don't care where you think it came from, right? For all I care, you can believe that Martians dropped it off. Well, I couldn't care less. Why I continue to say Wuhan virus is for people, hopefully, to cultivate a memory of a skin thick enough that no matter what a slur says, you don't indulge in that slur. Now, again, outside of the crazy people running around going, "Well, we just got to get everybody, right? Wuhan virus, we got to," right? That is racist. But all these people running around screaming, going, "Well, it's racist to say this or that." Well, let me ask you a question. What would the word be? I say hair lipist, right? Because I had a hair lip growing up. I still have a hair lip, right? But I say hair lipist. What would it be for someone that attacks human wherewithal? That's someone that works continually to suggest to you that sticks and stones and words will break your bones. What do we call about those people? Those are the people that I rise against. Those are the people that I'll fight on Twitter or Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever we find them. Those are the people that I'll continue to fight. Those are the people that block human wherewithal. Now, they want you infected with this idea that you're somehow half human. They want you infected, right? You talk about spreading of a virus. They want you to believe that you're susceptible to words of another because that's how they divide you. But in a healthy human mind, right? People say, well, the First Amendment only protects the government from arresting you. Couldn't care less, right? What I'm talking about is the First Amendment was a great idea long before our country ever came to be. The First Amendment, your ability to say, to congregate, to think as you like. Even if you congregate with the thoughts in your own head, your ability to congregate with those thoughts. So Wuhan virus is my attempt to return to the sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Everyone busy screaming about precedent. Well, there's got to be precedent, right? The Supreme Court, it's been the law of the land for 287,000 years. Whatever, right? Screaming about precedent. But they won't go back to the precedent of sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Whatever happened to that precedent? So in every occasion that I have to remind people, right? Like sometimes if you go, oh, well, that wasn't all that painful, right? You teach yourself something by going, yeah, I suffered that sling and it really didn't sting all that much as I thought it would. So in getting back to the thought, now that I got a chance to say Wuhan virus again, right? In getting back to the thought of you find someone that targets another human being, targets another individual, right? It's time to get that person out of here. But instead of running around labeling everyone racist, I'm simply standing against those people that would water down human wherewithal because I think you're better than that. I think you deserve this conversation. I wish there were a way for your inner child to knock at the front door and you go, well, let's split a bag of Oreos and maybe a Diet Coke, whatever it is, right? Whatever your favorite junk food is in a time like this, whatever, or come in and I'll have some vegetables prepared for you. And the little kid goes, vegetables? Look, I don't care how old you are. I still hate cauliflower. Right? That's all I'm saying. So I would love for everyone to be able to have that conversation and return to the pre-you, return to the Yoda that the Mandalorian is attempting to protect. Return to that you that isn't affected, right? Like people who are given a remote control over you, like you see it most in road rage or now keyboard rage, right? Oh, someone said this. Oh, I'll fire back something. I'll do this. I'll do that. I'll start with personal attacks. And yet, just for me personally, not for you. But I'm beginning to wonder if all the anger, all the hair trigger in the world stems from the fact that we haven't had this conversation with our inner child. We didn't answer the door when it rang or knocked. And maybe we're all ready to go to guns because there's a bit of that anger that we project out onto other people. And for me, trying to own that projection, I'm simply saying, instead of saying, you don't get to say that about me, I go, look, say what you like, because it doesn't derail me. It's not like playing pool and you send the cue ball flying and it's going to knock my ball out of the way and knock me off the path that I was on. It's just not going to happen. So maybe everyone being so upset, so outraged, so triggered, so this and that. In the dream last night, I started to look at it in a totally different way. Maybe it's a projection. Maybe they're ticked off because they haven't taken the time to have the conversation with that inner child. As wounded as she or he may be, maybe they're not wounded. That would be great, wouldn't it? But what if you and I could decide right now, and maybe it's only a 20-minute victory, right? Maybe it's only for the next 20 minutes when we do our meditation. What if we were able to see? What if we were able to manifest within our own minds that right? Like, what if there was a philosophical mosquito repellent? Right? I posted on Facebook. For those of you that didn't get a chance to hear it yet, I posted on Facebook the other day, said something about a compilation of media, and all it was an audio of what 475 bite rate of mosquitoes sounds like in the Everglades in August. Put a little microphone out. Wasn't doing any social distancing then. Put a little microphone outside of the tent. Put my headlamp on it, and the mosquitoes just dive bomb this microphone. So the audio is up over here on the Facebook page and probably at mortalup.com, allnaturalbeing.com. I don't know if Wayne put it there. But in any event, what if there was a philosophical mosquito repellent so that when people would come in and try to sting us with all their slurs, we'd go, no, I got DEET, right? What if there was a cognitive DEET? What if there was a way of going, oh, or like sunblock, right? You go, oh, I'm not going to be beaten down by the rays of somebody else's drool. I got SPF 250 on. What if there were that? How great would your day be if no one got to derail you? And all I'm suggesting is that you absolutely deserve the right not to be derailed. And if a function of being played like a puppet, if a function of being played like a marionette is that we allow other people's sense of ourselves, we indulge their opinion. Well, what if we stop indulging their opinion? What if we really believe, hey, you're welcome to say what you like, right? It doesn't affect me. It just, oh, I'm going to unfriend you. Great. Oh, I'm going to say nasty things. Great. It's not going to stir my core. Because I think you deserve that. And a function of all natural being, we've been doing it all along now. The function of that all natural being is returning to that time where you were a superwoman, Wonder Woman, Superwoman, Superman, whatever it was. But you were untouchable by the slings and arrows of other people because you knew you were better than that. But what's happened to you and me? And admittedly, it happens, right? But what's happened to you and me where someone can say something that's perceived to be their opinion of us as negative, and then we adopt their opinion? I'm calling for an end right now today to adopting the opinions of idiots. If someone says something about you and you know it's not true, why adopt that opinion? Why indulge that opinion? I just do it now where I say, have a nice day, right? Thank you for your thoughts. People say to me on Facebook, why is it that people will slam you and you'll like the comment? Because what I'm liking is not the comment. Now, what I'm liking is not endorsing their drool. What I'm liking is the fact that I think they should have the right to type. You know, this thing I saw the other day on Twitter. Oh, in order to make sure we have a safe community, I don't want a safe community. We're in this trouble right now because everyone's running around when it comes to Wuhan virus. Everyone's running around wanting to be safe, and our immune systems haven't been called into the battle. It's been so long since our immune systems have been called into the battle that the immune system's like, I don't know what the hell you want from me. I've been sitting on the sidelines in a Perel coma. I've been sitting on the sidelines for so long, I don't even know how to combat this. So for me, when they say, oh, safe community, there's no such thing as a safe community. So I love the slings and arrows. I just don't suffer them, right? Because ultimately, the greatest solvent of the human spine is fear. And if you fear what another person's going to say about you, that's why I joke all the time with my family. I really couldn't care less about what another person thinks about my inner child, thinks about the me, thinks about the you that was you before you've forgotten who you are. So as we get ready to wrap this 20-minute victory for Sunday morning, I wish you an absolutely best day. If we're friends, I wish you absolutely a best day. If in your mind you perceive me as an enemy, absolutely wish you the very best day. And when I say that your opinion simply doesn't matter to me, what I mean to say is that if you want to think one thing or another, either way, thumbs up or thumbs down, it doesn't alter the way you and I should feel about ourselves at our very core. Stop buying in to all the hysteria. Stop buying into all the mania and realize that you're better than that. That you're absolutely better than that when you channel your all-natural being. All right, a little bit of housekeeping before we get out of here. Thank you so very much for joining us. Don't forget, we really do read, as I hope this is the case, we read your tweets. We read your Facebook posts, LinkedIn, YouTube, the comments, the emails, the texts that I get. We read all of those things. So if you have an occasion, go ahead. Please keep them coming. And if you haven't yet, head on over to mortalup.com, allnaturalbeing.com, The Brian Brody Show, or brianbrody.com, I guess. And you can sign up for Low Life's Making Headlines. What we really hope for is that you sign up to introduce a mortal up, someone that you think has just faced a Herculean challenge in life and have come out being their all-natural being. We'd really love those. And also you can sign up for the blog and blurb. Remember that's every day. I write them fresh. And whether you want to read them or you want to listen to them, i.e. the blog or the blurb, we'd love to have you. So check out mortalup.com. And until tomorrow, the Brian Brody Show Until tomorrow, remember, you and I don't have to suffer. Billy Shakespeare only half right when it says suffer the slings and arrows. You and I don't have to suffer them, right? We don't, just because we can perceive it doesn't mean we should be susceptible to it. Let people think what they want. Let people express those theories. Don't be like these closet libertarians that go, just stop it, and then call you all kinds of names because, oh, what did he do? He dared exercise free speech in my thread. Ay, ay, ay. All right, go ahead. Have an absolutely fantastic day. If there's anything I can do for you, please reach out to us. Mortalup.com. There's all kinds of way of getting an email to me. If you don't already have that email address, please do so. And I wish you you get the new title of Mandalorian for the human mind. You got to love this picture. One of the stormtroopers' heads on a pike. Now, I'm not suggesting a revolution. Who would do that? All right, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you so very much for joining us. Have an absolutely spectacular Sunday wherever you're spending your lockdown. Have an absolutely fantastic day, and we will look forward to seeing you tomorrow on The Brian Broaddus Show. Have a great one, everybody.